Hello, my name is Polina Kamenskaya. I'm an artist and the creator behind all of the products of Kamenskaya brand. Today I want to introduce you to one of my favorite material, texture fiber. This product has a wide range of application in both fine art and restoration work. In this video, I'll show you a few techniques for creating interior artworks using texture fiber and give you a brief guide on how to work with it. Let's get started. To start, we'll need texture fiber and a regular stretched canvas. Make sure the canvas is well stretched. No need to prime or prep it, just a factory finished surface is enough. The material sticks on its own and forms a solid structure. To open the fiber, simply cut the outer bag. Inside, you'll find another one with 12 pieces of fiber. This is how the fiber looks right out of the package. It might seem like it's covered in clumps of paste, but that's normal. That paste is part of the material. Once you run your hand over it, it smooths out. Our goal is to flatten the fiber and evenly spread the paste. You can do it on a table or directly on the canvas. I'll show you the classic placement technique, perfect for abstract interior art. The idea is to lay the fiber in soft folds. You can go horizontal, vertical, or diagonal from corner to corner. I prefer corner to corner. It makes the composition more dynamic and balanced. One important tip: smooth the material before placing it. I take a second piece, flatten it, and gently stretch it to make it longer. Then I place another fold. I try to tuck the edge under the previous fold so it looks like a continuation. Smooth everything carefully. Once it dries, you won't be able to fix it. Any fiber that goes over the edge of the canvas can be trimmed with scissors. It cuts easily and the edge looks clean and polished. I really like how the side of the canvas turns out. It's very neat. Now I'm adding more folds at the top and bottom. For that I'm using halves. I just cut the fiber in two, then flatten, smooth and place as before. Nothing new here. It's still important to flatten and stretch each piece well and place it in a fold that continues the previous one. The main goal is to hide the transition between pieces. This part requires more focus and attention to detail. Once I place the piece, I cut off the excess so it doesn't get in the way. Now I rotate the canvas and repeat the process on the other side. Everything I'm doing now is the same as before. You can cover the whole canvas with fiber or just part of it. That depends on your preference. Personally, I think partial coverage makes the composition more interesting. Just don't forget to trim the edges and keep everything neat, because once it dries, it'll be harder to fix. And here's how the finished composition looks. Now we leave it to dry. Next, I'll show you another way to work with the fiber. This time I'm trying a different shape. First, I prepare the pieces by stretching and smoothing them. You can do this with several at once and set them aside. Then I place them to create a wrinkled texture. What does it look like? Hard to say, but it's definitely stylish and unusual. The key is to hide all the seams and make sure no loose ends are sticking out. You can work with your fingers like I've done before, or use the back of a brush or a stick. Personally, I find a brush more convenient for shaping. The form is easy to build, and the result looks really impressive, especially after coloring. I'll add a bit more so you can see how it's done. I won't be finishing this piece completely, but if you want to try it, use this method. It's a great way to create a unique texture effect. Again, you don't have to fill the entire canvas. Partial layouts also look great. This is just one more composition. Same technique, we're still using texture fiber, but there are many ways to explore it. Right now, I'm shaping the fabric into a flower or ray-like form. You can call it rays or you can call it a flower, whichever feels right to you. Here's how the piece will look once dry. I try to fold it neatly, narrowing it toward the corner and letting it spread across the canvas. Where needed, I trim the pieces with scissors so they fit smoothly into one another. I pay close attention to the seams. I also use a wet brush to smooth out imperfections and adjust the folds. It works really well. The most important part of this layout technique is patience. Take your time and do everything as neatly as possible. The edges must be clean and one piece should smoothly overlap the other. There should be no extra fabric, because once the fabric dries, any rough or uneven areas will be much harder to fix. You'll have to mask them later, and that's always harder than doing it right from the start. So trim everything now, smooth it out, take care of it at this stage. Right now, I'm using a wet brush, just dipped in water, to make the transition from fabric to canvas smoother. It's like I'm blending the edge, softening it, and making it almost invisible by gently brushing and pressing it into the canvas. At the same time, I'm adjusting the fold. That's also very important here. This is one of the ways you can finish off the fabric layout neatly. It helps fill the space and shape the folds with precision. Now I'm trying to form a clean petal. I'm using the same method as before, making sure there are no visible seams. Everything should look smooth and elegant. I work piece by piece, and when I need to narrow the shape, I use scissors to trim the center of the tip of the fabric. This helps create a cleaner transition and makes narrowing easier. I don't have much space left, so I'm trying to make that narrowing as soft and seamless as possible. I need one last piece. I smooth it separately, and this time I trimmed the center in advance. I did the same thing earlier directly on the canvas, but since this is the final piece, it's easier to do the cutting now. You can use this little trick in your own process, it really helps. If you trim each piece this way, the sunray layout becomes much easier to complete neatly. So now I'm placing the final piece. It slightly extends beyond the edge of the canvas, and that's totally fine. In fact, I like when some elements go beyond the canvas frame. It breaks the rules in a nice way. I'll trim the piece a bit with scissors so it's not too long. very carefully. I really like the shape. Now I have two pieces going off the edge and it looks very intentional. But how do you dry it flat so everything stays neat? Here's a trick. You can place a flat piece of plastic underneath. It can be anything smooth, just something the fiber won't stick to. This helps lift and support the shape while drying. Once it dries, we'll be ready to move on and finish the artwork. And I'll explain everything about that in part 2. There we'll cover sealing, painting, and creating gradients. Now I'm showing on video how the dry result looks. The fiber has dried strong and solid. The shape held up well, nothing collapsed, and everything looks beautiful. Watch the next video to see more. Now we move on to the classic shape and continue from there. I want to achieve a smooth and voluminous effect like the one you see on the left. To do that, I'll be using light texture paste. It's perfect for creating both volume and smoothness. This paste is incredibly soft and easy to work with. To apply, I'm using a piping bag. It helps me control the amount and apply it directly onto the canvas. No need to scoop it with a brush. I cut a small hole at the tip of the piping bag to squeeze out the paste in small amounts. For spreading, I'll be using a super soft flat brush because the paste itself is very delicate. It's important to use a gentle touch. I squeeze the paste right onto the canvas in lines, then gently spread it out into smooth strips. I follow all the details and folds I previously shaped using texture fiber. That's my base. The paste helps me soften the surface and enhance the volume. I focus the paste mostly on the raised areas, while leaving the deeper folds more subtle. That's important. If you apply the paste evenly everywhere, you'll lose the sense of depth that comes from those natural shadows in the folds. Be sure to smooth everything thoroughly with the brush. Here I'm showing the difference between the part that's been treated with paste and the part that hasn't been touched yet. It's up to you, you can simply paint the canvas as is and keep that raw, textured surface. Or you can go one step further and make your piece more refined and sculptural with this paste. I also use the paste to cover the empty areas of the canvas. I've already done that for the top, now I'm doing the bottom. And here's the result right after I've applied everything. Now let's take a look at the result after drying. As you can see, the volume remains intact, nothing has shrunk or flattened. The texture is smooth and clean, but I'd still add another layer of paste to really lock it in. How to paint a piece like this and more about the finishing steps, I'll show all of that in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, please like, comment, and let us know what else you'd like to see on our channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.